Good evening, everyone. This is Senior Forecaster Cameron back here again, and I'm here to go over the potential of severe weather over the next couple of days here. But before we get into that, I want to tackle the elephant in the room here, guys. And that's going to be the graphic that you see on your screen at this current time here. This graphic was brought to us yesterday by one of our viewers here, asking if there was any truth behind this graphic here. This graphic has been presented to us. We did some thinking, and we found out that this graphic has been presented over the previous couple of years, especially in the springtime here. And the people behind this graphic are legit. They are real meteorologists that do make this graphic here. This is their tornado outlook for next week and the following week after that here. And I'm going to go over their discussion in just a little bit here, but I just want everyone to be aware about next week here, because we could look at the potential of severe weather next week. So always have a plan ready to go here. We're not here to cause massive panic. We're not here to say that we're going to have this major scale outbreak next week that's going to have tornadoes dropping everywhere, etc. like that. But we do want to raise awareness here, because the pattern that we're fixing to head into favors the potential of severe weather. I want everyone to be aware of that. So have a plan, have a place to go, sit down with your family. It's still early. We're about a week, almost a week and a half away from anything taking place next week here, guys. So sit down with your family, come up with a plan, know where to go when severe weather strikes us. The one thing we want to tell our viewers, our 80,000 viewers right now, is that have a plan ready to go. Okay, we're not calling for an outbreak next week, but the potential of severe weather is going to be a little higher than what we have seen so far this year here, guys, because the pattern that's fits what I'm going to show you here in a little bit, the pattern is going to favor the potential of not only severe weather, but I know I'm going to sound like a broken record behind this, but also the potential of heavy rain for us here in the natural state, not only for us in the natural state, but the mid-south here. So here's their discussion in terms of that tornado outlook here. Okay. Forecast discussion. Northern Hemisphere split flow remains the dominant regime, with increasing severe weather potential by late in the week of week 1. We are currently in week 1, so the increasing potential of severe weather, which I'm going to talk about here in just a little bit here, about tomorrow, about Wednesday, and also the potential on Thursday. Okay. Across the southern plains associated with the subtropical jet. Okay, by week 2, which is next week, a modest 812 GWO transition is going to be known. That means your pattern is fixing to change big time. Okay, which favors the deepening trough out towards our west. We have heard this all winter long about the trough just completely dominating the western part of the country, with the blocking, the ridging out towards our east here. So you're going to have a deepening trough out towards the west, and then you're going to have a building / retrograding ridge across the southeastern portion of the country here. So that dreaded southeast ridge, you remember back in September, October, that just would not get out of the way, that kept shunting most of our colder air off towards the northeast. That finally got out of here by October. Yeah, that ridge is going to come back, and it's coming back with a vengeance. So this will likely lead to a few days of jet coupling, favoring westerly to southwesterly flow across the southern plains. So you've got a loft, southwest flow loft, that's potential heavy rainfall. Keep that in mind, okay? On top of a admirable boundary layer moisture profiles for mid-March. So that means you're going to have frontal boundaries. You're going to have boundaries setting up all over the place for the potential of severe weather here. So this should create opportunities for severe convection and tornadoes. And thus, the AA forecast, given the relatively low climatologically numbers, has been forecasted for week 2 here. So they are going against Climo, which is pretty big for them to go against Climo. But we have seen so far this year, and even last year, that even climatologically speaking, things happen differently from regular Climo here, guys. So, normally this time of the year, if we're talking Climo, the tornado threat is really, really low in March, and then it takes a uphill as you get towards April and into May, when your southeast breeze starts to really build in, and your pattern becomes conducive for severe weather here. So they're suggesting that next week we get an early start to that pattern here, which is not a good sign, especially in March. You start getting that stuff here early. What's going to end up happening here, and this is somewhat similar to 2011 here, and before we get into further in this blog, we will have our spring outlook out as we get towards the later part of this week and into the early part of the weekend here, guys. So just stay tuned to that. It was delayed. I was trying to see how the pattern is going to be shaping up as we get towards the April and the May time frame here, guys. But we've got a pretty decent agreement on what we could be seeing in the spring here. So just stay tuned for our spring outlook. But as I was saying before, climatologically speaking, you would go against the potential of severe weather here, but with the pattern that's fixing to set up, you could get an early start here. But what I was saying before about 2011 is 2011 was a record-breaking year in terms of severe weather here, guys. Severe weather, tornadoes. It was a record-breaking year, especially in our part of our neck of the woods here. But what ended up happening in 2011 is that we had a very early start. We had outbreaks in January, February, March, April, and then as soon as we got into May, especially mid-May, that southeast ridge dominated over our neck of the woods, and it completely shut off the severe weather events, and we went straight into summer here. And there has been a lot of speculation going around that we could have drought-like conditions as we get towards the upcoming summer here, and that's still a little too early to be noted here, but I just want to keep everybody in mind about that potential here. So whenever you start getting that southeast ridge here, and quickly, especially in the early part of the season, it never ends well for us in the natural state. It always ends with us getting into summer very, very quickly here. So that's the situation with that. Now, their forecast matches up with Climate Prediction Center's forecast here. The potential of heavy rainfall, potential of severe weather here. I'm going to draw this out for you guys. This is the pattern that we're talking about. A deepening trough off towards the west. Your southeast ridge builds across the southeastern continent of the United States. And then your trough kind of dominates the western, northern, and northeastern portion of the country as well here. So there's high pressure here. All right, you've got the return flow out of the Gulf of Mexico here. And by the way, Gulf of Mexico's temperatures are way above normal for this time of the year, calculating mid to upper 70s, low 80s at this current time here. So the Gulf of Mexico is more than favorable for the potential of severe weather. Coupled with a very active storm jet, you could look at the potential of a heightened severe weather event as we get towards the next week and into next weekend time frame here. So stay tuned with us here in Arkansas Weather Watchers. So, as you guys always know, we will keep you guys ahead of the storm, and not only the severe weather potential, but also the potential of heavy rainfall. We've been talking about this all winter long, about this heavy rainfall potential, but this is a very rare, high risk for the potential of heavy rainfall for northeastern Texas, Arkansas, stretching into the Ohio Valley here, guys. So next week is going to be very, very active for our neck of the woods here. Now, we're going to show you guys the GFS here, the NAM, and I'm going to talk to you guys about the Euro here in just a little bit. So, before I get into that, I'm sorry, I just completely neglected it. This is day 2. This is tomorrow's risk for far northwest Arkansas. Wind and hail is going to be for the potential as we still have some of that northwest flow aloft. Now, here's day 3. This is Wednesday's severe weather event. Potential mainly for the potential of wind and hail. Can't rule out the potential of some isolated tornadoes on Wednesday, given the deep layer shear that's going to be in place with that short wave that's going to be pushing through the natural state. Timing is still kind of all over the place with that system. If it comes through during the afternoon hours, where guidance is suggesting where we could have 1,500 to 2,000 Cape, then we will look at the potential of severe weather. If it comes through in the morning, then the potential of severe weather basically cut in half, with your instability being down around that 300 to 500 range, and that system coming through in the coolest part of the day. It typically cuts down your severe weather threat almost entirely here, guys. So what we're looking at here is the GFS, all right, and I'm going to see if I can go over to the zeros here. I don't think the zeros is out yet. Yes, it is, and I don't think it's, okay, it's not the 42 hours here. So we're going to go back to the 12s here, and I don't like, if you guys know me well, I don't like using 18Z. 18Z is the ensemble-based run. I like using the operationals. But this is the GFS here. It gets that system out here as we get towards Thursday here. So Thursday night, and Friday, we go back to quote-unquote winter, with temperatures falling into the 50s and 60s rise, overnight lows in the upper 30s and 40s. That return flow starts coming back as we get towards Saturday night and early Sunday morning here. Ignore the GFS, but if the cold air sticks around, I can't rule out some isolated winter weather event, winter weather reports across far northern Arkansas, particularly in the higher elevations. I think the GFS is off his rocker with that winter weather potential here, but we're just going to keep that between me and you guys here. So we're going to keep that out of the way. And then as we turn into next week here, what the GFS is wanting to do, it has a very, very active pattern. System after system after system after system here. As you can clearly see, and you see what I'm talking about, I'm going to show you guys 500 millibars, but you don't even have to look at 500 millibars here, because there's your 540 line here. So your trough is basically doing this. I'm going to show you guys real quickly here. You don't even have to look at 500 millibars. You can just look straight off the preset map, and it tells you the pattern. There's your trough here, and then there's your southeast ridge in place here, guys. So you look at the potential of severe weather and heavy rainfall across our neck of the woods as we get towards the other part of next week here, guys. And even beyond that, we finally get a break before another system takes advantage as we get towards later that weekend into the last week of March here. Now, in terms of temperature-wise, all right, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys real quickly here. Temperature-wise, this is the GFS, by the way. I'm going to show you the Euro here in just a little bit here. Temperature-wise, in terms of GFS, gets us into the 60s, low 70s here. And then as we get towards Thursday night, early Friday, this is why I'm concerned about the potential of severe weather with that frontal boundary coming through on Thursday here. We could look at the potential of marginal risk being issued on Thursday. That's going to be pushing through here. Temperatures go back to quote-unquote normal as we get towards Friday. And then as you get towards Friday night, as you get towards Saturday and the Saturday night here, this is the GFS, by the way. I don't buy this at all. But it keeps everybody basically in the 30s and 40s on Saturday. I don't buy it. I just do not buy those cold temperatures like that. I think we're just too far into late winter, early spring to get these types of temperatures. I just don't think that this is going to happen here. We'll keep it in mind. Don't get me wrong. I won't rule out higher elevations, but I just don't see this being a big-time winter weather event as you get towards Saturday here. Now, as you get towards the early part of next week here, here's your frontal boundary. Now, this would call for big-time severe weather here, because here's your frontal boundary coming through. Temperatures behind that boundary are in the teens and 20s. And be in mind, we are in March, okay? We are in March, and we are getting these cold temperatures behind this front. Temperatures ahead of the front start soaring into the 60s and 70s here, guys. So as the front crashes into Arkansas Tuesday, you will look at the potential of severe weather for central and south Arkansas here, guys. All right, and then what ends up happening here as that front hits that building southeasterly ridge, it stalls. It stalls out across most of Arkansas here, and you're going to get system after system after system after system impacting our neck of the woods here. So I could see severe weather being an issue for central and south Arkansas. But on the flip side of the coin, for our friends in the plains, I could look at the potential of snow up there as well. And I'm talking about this, and we are in early to mid-March here, guys, which is not out of any realm of possibility. You can still get snow in March here, but for us down here in Arkansas, I just don't see it happening at this current time here. So there's that with the GFS. Now, we're going to go over to the NAM here, and we'll talk to you guys about next week here in just a little bit here. I want to see if it has the 0Z out already with this here. So here's the 0Z NAM. Alright, and as I talked about before, here's your threat for tomorrow. So tomorrow's risk could go away if you go with the NAM model here, but what it does here, it brings up that line that's going to come through as it gets towards Wednesday morning here. And as it pushes through the natural state, we're going to keep a very close eye on here. I want to know something about the NAM, that especially with the instability values being very, very high across our neck of the woods, I don't see this line dying off. I actually see it strengthening as it pushes into Arkansas here. So We're going to keep that in the back of our minds here. And then here's that frontal boundary as we get towards Thursday night and early Friday morning here. NAM model may be struggling with the moisture a little bit here, so we're just going to keep that in mind. There's your high pressure in place, 1029 millibar high. Return of flow starts coming back as we get towards Friday night, early Saturday morning here with showers, possibly some isolated thunderstorms could be possible as we get towards Saturday. I just don't buy this, the potential winter weather event across far northern Arkansas, but we'll keep you guys updated on that potential if guidance were to continue on that. So here's the European model here. Now, as we get towards Wednesday, this is what I'm talking about before. Wednesday, it has that cluster of storms pushing through the natural state. We will keep you guys updated on that potential here. It could be some isolated damaging winds, hail, maybe an isolated tornado too with that system here. Now, as we get towards Thursday here, you're going to have a fundamental that's going to come through. Now, what the Euro does, and this is what I am thinking, it stalls the frontal boundary out in southern Arkansas here, and then it tries to retrograde it back towards the north. Okay, if that happens, you could look at the potential of possibly some isolated severe weather to get towards Saturday here. Now, we're going to turn our attention to next week here, and this is the latest from the Euro. Okay, Euro hardly has anything at all because what it does here is that it is much stronger with that southeast ridge here. And I'm going to show you guys in the national level here in just a second here. So just bear with me for just a moment here. And this is what I'm talking about. Here's your upper level pattern, 500 millibars. And we're going to go ahead and take you guys out the next week here, guys. So just bear with me for just a second. Let the map catch up here. And this is what I'm talking about. There's your southeast ridge. There's your trough. Basically what the Competition Center is trying to tell us is that the pattern is going to be conducive for the potential of severe weather here. Now I'm going to take you guys out to mid part of next week here, and here we are as we get towards Thursday. It's 240 hours out, 10 days from now. Okay, here's the European model. All right, now what it does eventually, I've seen scenarios like this play out before. We saw this back in the past where you had a deep trough across the southeast here, and then you have that ridge, that southeast ridge, that retrograde so across the Gulf of Mexico into the southeastern portion of the country here. So I could see this being a heavy rainfall potential for Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri here, while Arkansas would stay relatively dry until later part of next week and into early next weekend, where this trough finally kicks out. The southeast ridge gets pushed towards the east, and then this thing becomes a big-time severe weather maker for our neck of the woods here. So, as I said before, we would keep you guys ahead of the storm. Overall, the potential of heavy rainfall, some severe weather could be possible in the next couple of days here, and then all eyes turn to next week and into all eyes turn to next week, middle part of next week, late part of next week, and even to next weekend for us here, not only here in Arkansas, but in the entirety of the Mid-South here, as this trough will eventually eject out towards the east. Just the overall timing of when or if that could happen remains to be seen here, guys. So just stay with us here in Arkansas Weather Watchers. We will keep you guys ahead of the storm. Thank you guys for listening to this video blog here tonight, and y'all have a great rest of your Monday evening.